So
All right.
I watched this try to do the jingle last week, and it was
Yeah.
really, really funny because there is a slight delay. When you're having a conversation, you don't see it.
Right.
But when you're trying to do stuff synchronously, you see it.
Yep. Exactly.
I was like, we were together, and I was like a whole second behind, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
not right.
Turns out it was just Discord will not allow us to do the jingle on sync at any point.
So,
So
but we do need to do the jingle.
we do the
So,
jingle. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
common
Common
language in
language
the
in the
morning.
morning. That was pretty
Hey,
good.
so that was out of sync on my end, but I started like a split second before you on my end, which probably means that we're in sync in the recording.
I can't wait to see because that sounded really good. Like I think like we both hit it at the same time. That was about as perfect as I could expect it. So now that we're synchronized at Bufu early in the morning, welcome on in,
Oh my god.
everybody. It's us. It's Alex and Nathan, Common Language Podcast. We're here streaming live to our channel members over on Ashering's TCG. So if you are a channel member and you're watching this live, thank you for supporting the channel in the way that you do. If you are watching the VOD, just know that you can become a channel member to watch these live and do some, viewer questions or whatever need be. And that's always a fun thing. But we, of course, have plenty of topics to speak on. Several things happened over the course of the week. We had the very first, again, like super gorilla Silver Age event occur in Tokyo. But before we do that, Nathan, how has your week been? How are you?
Um. Okay, so I'm always curious how do I answer. So okay, so I'm gonna go into a little story time, and it's not like a fun story time. It's more of
Okay.
like let's just like I'm gonna level with you personally, so that people like know like, hey, shit happens and it's okay type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I told you this. I'm not super public about it. It's not because I want to be private, but because I mean we talk card games. So back in September, middle of September, my son ended up in the ICU. And we
Oh.
found out he had type 1 diabetes.
Oh no.
So I say that to say it was thankfully where we go. Our pediatrics ER is phenomenal, and they figured it out super fast. And he had to spend a couple days there. Poor buddy had to spend his most of his birthday there. So
Oh.
in September, but so this weekend he's been sick, and just if you're not familiar, type 1
Mm-hmm.
diabetes is genetic. So there's like nothing you can do. It's
Right.
just it's genetic. It doesn't run in our family, so I was a little bit surprised by it. But immune disorders do run in our family on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one, thankfully. And they told us like because it's the case, like there's higher chance of it's getting it and stuff like that. Both Jen
Right.
and I do not have immune disorders. I have a couple siblings that do. She's got aunts that do. Anyway,
Right.
so wasn't on our radar. So this weekend we brought him to the hospital because he was really sick, and so we had to spend a night in the hospital. Thankfully, all the tests came back very positive. They
Good.
ended up doing it as precautionary, just because they wanted to keep eyes on him. Because
Right.
they're like, he's okay, but if he doesn't keep his fluids up, he won't be. So
Right.
kept him overnight. So that was my weekend, was doing that. So Saturday night I did a stream, and people will be like, well, why did you do a stream? It was honestly more of like I got the kids to bed, I said goodnight to my wife and my son, and it was just more of like a distraction.
Yeah, absolutely. I
That makes
mean,
sense.
dude, it's it's a lot to deal with. I know my roommate has type 1 diabetes, and I mean, just seeing the fluctuations of things that he goes through on a day-to-day basis, of the highs and the lows. And I mean, like when
Yeah.
you're younger, you're not as like conscious about those things, right? You and now you have to be, because like you, and not even them have to be, like you yourself as the parent now have to be like, all right, like let's make sure your levels are not out of whack, because if they are, like we're gonna have to go back to the hospital.
Yeah, and it's
So
not even like out of like that's important, out of whack, not going to the hospital, but something that they don't really notice until like I didn't really we talk about hangry and
yeah.
things like that. Like
Hmm.
your blood sugar really doesn't mess with your emotions, and when
Right.
your body can't regulate that, it makes it harder for especially a kid. Like a kid can't
Yeah.
regulate their emotions. As an adult, I
Right.
struggle regulating my emotions. So like
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on too. So yeah, overall though, I would say like the silver lining is the fact that it was precautionary.
Yeah. For
They
sure.
were really worried at first when he got there because he does have asthma, so they're worried about that. And all the tests came back positive, and so the best result happened.
Good. Well, that's
If
at
that
least
makes
good.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's like it definitely was an early, it's good to be precautionary, and I think at least like I'm having the part of you love your family and you love your child and you want to take care of them, and I think that's at least the best part, is that kid's not going to like wake up and
Yeah,
be like, all right, I got to deal with type 1 diabetes myself at age whatever, right? Like it's
nine.
yeah, at age 9, like you can't like you know you're at least going to be there for them to take care of that, so that's good, and then teach them how to deal with it, because even
Oh my
if you
gosh,
don't have it,
it's
it's
been a learning experience for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, it
I'm sure
is
your roommate has a lot of it. Like, oh, this
oh
is
yeah, I mean, we
hard.
have we have like every time we go out somewhere, we bring like 2 honey sticks with us, these little like honey sticks.
Yep.
We always bring a couple of those. My girlfriend, who's one of his best friends, literally just always will bring like additional little candies or like granola bars even, just so that way we have it on hand. And then his whole thing is it often will like it's about regulating, because you're sometimes it's like, okay, cool, you need to pack that if they're at a low, you need to like pack them full of sugar
Yeah.
before in order to make their highs go up or make their levels go up, but you can't like do it too much, because
Yes.
then it goes to a spike, and so you have to find that happy medium. And like when you're brand new to type 1 diabetes, it's hard to know where that happy medium is.
Yeah.
But I
We've been
think
doing a whole lot of carb counting because that's like the main thing is you got to
yeah,
count carbs and do all that, and so
yeah,
it's it's an experience for sure.
for sure. Well, at least I know that he's in good hands, so
Yeah.
that's
So,
what it's about.
anyways, I was just like, I don't know if I'm just gonna go story time to just be like, hey, it gets real sometimes,
Well,
and we
that's
we
it.
love our distractions and our games and stuff, but it's okay to be real and to
Absolutely.
kind of
Absolutely.
handle that stuff.
That's what it's about. I mean, like, we are real people after all. We are not just faces on the internet. We are real people with real day-to-day things. So, always good to talk about it. So, hopefully your next weekend gets a little bit better, obviously it
Oh my
being
gosh.
Thanksgiving, right? Going to
It's
be pretty
I was gonna
busy
say
for a lot of
we're
people.
doing this early because of Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
which now we didn't. I almost messaged you and was like, "Hey, we could actually do that at normal time," except someone took that slot for a meeting at work, and I was just
Oh,
like, "Damn it!"
that's
It's
okay.
like,
That's
well,
okay. Well, it gives me more time to edit after all this, so that'll be good. But
and of poor
uh
Alex. So if anybody doesn't know, Alex is up at 7 o'clock. You're up before that.
yeah, I'm
Um,
usually up before
to
then.
be at the
So
screen, to be on the screen, which is pretty early. Like I was up at 7. Like don't get me wrong, but I wasn't up at 7 getting ready to go in front of a screen.
I was up at 6. I got up at 6:30 today, just
Okay,
because I was
that's
like
awesome.
I can make it happen right around 6:30, and so I did. Got up, got my coffee, and here we are. So
I always
it's
like my early mornings. I used to get up at 5.
mhm.
Fairly, and like a year or two ago, I was getting up regularly at 5 because I would work out and then do editing. Um, And then my brother-in-law lived with us for a little bit on the couch, so he wouldn't be homeless. So then I couldn't get up at 5, so then I
Yeah, right.
got out of
Yeah, not
practice.
not the
I
same
wasn't
kind
gonna
of
wake him
vibe.
up at 5 o'clock.
You live in my house. You're gonna be get up at 5 with me.
So I was like, all right, I'll respect that. And so now it's like I'm out of getting up at 5. I hate getting up at 5, but once you're up, it's super relaxed. Like
Yeah,
you're just like you get so much done before that, and not even just like so much done. Because I wasn't. Let's face it, I'm not productive at that time. It's just like that. Like you slowly get up. You do like I would do like a yoga or like just a small workout to just get my blood pumping
right.
and drink some coffee and like have headspace before everything comes at you in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to
Nice.
just like wake up out of bed and immediately just get hit with like a whole bunch of stuff. It's
So
better
I
to
was
like
how I
get
used to
up,
work.
give yourself some breathing room. I mean, like I'm normally up at this time because I think my body has just like gotten used to it.
Mhm.
Because I don't work until like 3 hours from now. So I'm not even like, after this, I'm just gonna kind of like get some editing done and do some other things. But like that's what I use my mornings for, is because I'm one of those people, like if I didn't have to sleep, I wouldn't, because I knew I could get a whole bunch of stuff done in that
Yeah.
time. But because I have to sleep, because the human body requires rest, I am just like, okay, cool. What can I maximum, like, or what's like the minimum amount of sleep I'm going to need to not want to like, you know, lose myself in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Uh, and then once I achieve that, I'm like, okay, cool. Sure, I'm a little tired in the morning. Who isn't? Get up, walk around a little bit. Yeah, stretch,
Coffee.
get some coffee, and you're in a good spot. So, but I didn't do too much this week, honestly. I think a lot of it was just more editing,
Hmm.
getting more
Oh, did you get
stuff.
some more A to Z done?
I get more A to Z done, so that should be posted hopefully this week. It's been very fun being able to like look through a lot of these heroes and just kind of like see who's got what available to them.
So,
But
so funny
it's
story. I have a I told my locos because I have so much bulk. I'm
right.
gonna spend 3 minutes talking about that after you're done.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, you guys want me to build you decks? Like, I'll
Right.
just because I bring my stuff, but like I'm not there every week, so that way
Right.
they can just have some Sage decks. And a friend of mine was like, hey, I'm gonna send you some decks, and then he goes, I'm gonna send you a bunch of Astern Wings TCG. I didn't realize that's who you do your podcast with. So your A to Z is working so much so that my locals were like, I'm gonna send you this. Oh wait, that's the guy
it's
you do the
it's
podcast
funny.
with.
I found out that on my, that's so cool. Well, shout out to them. Shout out to shout out to the locals. I had gone through, because there was a Project Blue. I think it still is a Project Blue Discord. But
Go.
back when it was Project Blue, that was where everybody hung out. Was there? They made a separate Discord because Legend Story Labs like stopped doing a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
there, so somebody just made a whole Discord for it. Um, and
I'm
it's
not in that
funny.
Discord. Is it active?
It's like fairly active. It's not. I don't think it's as active as one would imagine, but it's
Hmm.
fairly active. The chats are all set up by hero and by class.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a chat for each individual hero within the format currently.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's really cool. And it was really funny because I was just scrolling through, and sometimes I'll go through those chats just for like inspiration as to like what I'm trying to do. Cause let's be honest, building 56 decks wants you to like, you want to jump off a bridge. Like that's a
Yes.
lot to do. So I'm like, sure, I'll get some inspiration from somebody. Some of the people are even from the Clash, the Clash game. Freaking Tie Dye Top Hat.
Yeah.
You remember Tie Dye? Tie Dye's
Yeah.
like posting
I talked
list
with
after
that.
list after list in there, and I'm just like, thank you, Tie Dye. You are the
Oh
best.
yeah.
And
That is
so
the best.
it is. So it was really really cool to see that. But it was funny because I went in and I popped into the Dromai chat because I'm just like, sure, what's going on in here? And literally, the most recent post I saw was a link to my video in
Hmm.
there talking about how it's like, oh, this is a great breakdown of like what all the dragons do, and what the play style is for Dromai, and so on and so forth. And I just responded back to him. I'm just like, that's so awesome. I'm so happy you enjoyed the video. And then everybody was like, oh my God, like, thank you for doing this. This is so great. And so I don't know. I feel very,
I
very, very humbled sometimes when that happens.
Yeah, I love your A to Z because number one, that's crazy for you to do that. But number two, like all of your decks are, even the ones that like I can tell that you didn't put as much time into,
Right.
just and only I can tell just because I know your deck building style. I've
Yeah.
seen like ones that like it's more of like I just have known you long enough and played against you long enough to kind of know what you gravitate towards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But even all of those, or all of them have been really good starters. Like
Yeah.
I've seen some stuff and I'm like, this is a fantastic base. Like someone could probably take this further, but at least they have a starting point. And I think that's
Exactly.
that's the main thing I know that you're going after. And anyways, but yeah, so my friend hasn't sent me any lists over, but he's like, oh, they're probably gonna be Astro Wings. I was like, that's fine. Like all of his decks that I've seen so far have all been just they're great starters. They're a great place to start, and if you like the deck, you can take it somewhere to where you want to go. Because I
Mhm.
know for myself, like I have a specific style. There's like
Right.
very specific things that I like to do, and so there's always those like flex spots or things that you're changing and stuff. And so you giving people a good base is great because then they can start tweaking it to what they want to do. Do they want to go more pummels with Bravo Flattering Showman? Sure, because I don't think your list had
No.
pummels in it.
No pummels in there. Yeah.
I was like, I don't think there was, but like what you put in there was a great base that like if pummels your thing, like great, you have the ability to do some stuff in there.
Yeah. I mean,
To do
everything
it.
is flexible. I mean, that's kind of the best part
Mhm.
is that, I mean, when we taking even a look at the lists from Tokyo compared to what I've built already, I'm just like, okay, like I knew that I wasn't going to be building the best version of this deck, but I built the theme, right? Like the
Yeah.
general concept and theme of it. There are far better brewers out there in the world, and I know that. I'm not like the best brewing deck brewer in the entire world, but it is just very fun to like kind of learn that theme of each of the heroes,
Mhm.
even if I just do it from like a base perspective of like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I think I built Fang. And
Mm.
Fang, I was just like, I really just don't know if it's
Should have asked me.
correct
I
to
could have
do
given you a good
this.
list.
You probably could have. I definitely, I think that's the best part is like the community also has been very helpful in just being like, this is the thing. Like I want people to critique my lists when I post them because I
Yep.
want people to be like, oh, well, you can play this instead of this. Like for instance, even my Decimator Olympia list that I brought in over at DM Armada's Sage event, I had people in the comments of his video being like, no overpower? Why weren't you playing overpower? And I'm just like, well, I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I did not think about overpower. I didn't
Yeah.
think that would be a
I
lot.
haven't
And
watched
so
that video yet.
it's,
I need to watch it. I saw it live. I saw the
yeah,
video
you were
live.
there. You literally there on site when it happened. So it was, but
I literally
yeah.
was sitting next to you guys off the screen while you were
Mm-hmm.
going over it. So
What a
I
fun
haven't
time.
watched it, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, I know we're gonna spend 20 minutes just on this before we even
We
actually get into
we
the meat
do
and
we do
potatoes.
love a good yap session. But let's go ahead and then Nathan, you wanted to talk a little bit about a thing you're doing locally. Is that right?
Yes. No, well, just like in general. So,
Okay.
I started going through my bulk, and I have way too much of it, and so I posted that online, and then someone sent me this amazing thing. They do this in the UK, so I'm gonna start doing it on the US side.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is it's essentially I'm gonna lovingly call it the Sage Recycle program.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they just take bulk from people and other people, and they just charge for cost for shipping to
Mm-hmm.
send people stuff. And so they do they make basically packets of like so for instance they'll have like brute WTR common, brute
Mm-hmm.
WTR rares, like, and they'll build packets together, and then you just contact them, you put in an order, and they just charge you at cost
Yeah.
for shipping and stuff. um as I'm going through my bulk, I'm realizing I have too much of it. I know I've accrued a ton of it over the years. I know you have too. And
Yep.
so I've decided one of the cool things that they do is they actually have a spreadsheet, and they have how many cards are in each, how much it weighs. And so as they send out stuff, they actually weigh it, and then they post like how much, essentially how much they've recycled. I say recycle, but like giving it to
Right.
new owners.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have like an average of how many cards over the course of 2 years. They have gotten out over 22,000 cards out to people. Um, so I'm going to start doing that in the same vein. So kind of keep. I just wanted to kind of put that out there to the listeners of like, hey, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start posting that. So there's two things. Number one, probably next week or the week after, I'll have a link to packs, so you can go in and pick what packs you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be slow moving. It's probably going to take me a month to get it all up there, but I'll at least have like some stuff up there. Like for instance, my brute is organized already. I'm waiting for some team bags to come in so I can just start slotting them in to make the
There you
packs.
go. That's what I got. I
Um,
got all these team bags sitting right here
yeah,
for me to.
exactly. So the first step is getting that up, getting my product up there, and so I was going to charge like $3 to $5 depending on how much you get, so I can
Hmm.
cover shipping, and then any extra costs of packaging,
There
things
you
like
go.
that. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm calling it a Sage because I'm gonna do two ofs in there because it's specific to Sage instead of, I know that other person they did like threes because you know CC, but now
Yeah.
we're heavily into Sage. So I'm just gonna do two ofs. So if there's, I have a ton of old sets. So the
Right.
first 2 years. So I know a lot of people are missing that. So just kind of keep your eyes posted. I'll post a link probably on once I start getting that up. I'll post a link on all my socials and BlueSky, Instagram, all of that, and that we'll probably get a post in maybe in a couple weeks in the video or something. So first step is getting all, I'm getting it all organized and going to build that. Second step is if you have bulk that you're going to throw out. The purpose of this is to make sure that cards don't end up in landfills
Mm-hmm.
and cards end up in people's hands. So if there's cards that you're looking at throwing out, I will pay for shipping for you to send those to me so that I can get those out. And then the second stage, and this is going to be kind of down the lane, is the U.S. is very large, and
Mm-hmm.
so the idea would be is to kind of turn it into a program for people to get rid of cards so that everything's not just flowing through me. That's further down the road. So that's more of
Yeah.
a like, hey, like, my first thought was like, hey, Ashton Wing is in Colorado. If he has some stuff that he's willing to send at cost to you and you're in Colorado,
Yeah.
like that way I can connect people in there. I know you charge a little bit because you sort and do all of that.
Yeah.
So it's just more of a way for people that do have bulk and things like that that are going to throw it out to give them an alternative way of not throwing out cards and
Yeah.
getting it to players that need it. So I'm in working out what that logistically looks like. Right now it's just I'm going to put stuff together, I'm going to post it online. You can go to a spreadsheet. Once I have it up, you'll be able to go to a Google spreadsheet and just pick out what you want and send me a message and say, hey, I see you have, I need a pack of brute commons from WTR and rares from WTR, and
Yeah.
this from this set, and you can just message me and I'll start weighing that, getting that out to you at cost. Like I said, $3 to $5. But yeah, so that's kind of short term is I'm going to use my collection to kind of spawn that, and then longer term is like if you have cards that you're literally going to throw out, put it in a box. I will pay for it to
Yeah.
get it here because I want to get it to players that'll do it. And then the long term, if this is successful, is hey, how can we coordinate nationally
Right.
to get people the cards that they need, or so that people are not just throwing out bulk?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think with Sage, like, we have use for it now,
Yeah.
and I think that there's no reason for us to be doing that, especially because as sets get older, it gets harder to get those cards. They don't always reprint them. That way we can
Mm-hmm.
get it into players' hands. So
Yeah.
that's my 5-minute spiel real quick of kind of what's going on.
There you go. I mean, like it's a good place to be. That's, effectively what I had been doing out here in Colorado was I mean, people would, I think it was ever since I had seen an LGS just throw out like a pack of cards from from their table because they just like people weren't picking them up. I wasn't picking them up. And I was in the middle of like a conversation or something, and the LGS was cleaning up, and I saw them throw out those cards. I immediately thought to myself, and I went, "What the hell is that all about?" Like, I was just like, people are gonna need these cards at some point. Like, it's not like we were playing an eternal game. We are all at some point we are going to need some of these cards. People are gonna want to brew with weird shit. Like, it's gonna be the case. And so, I immediately was just like, well, that's not right. Like, this could go much farther. And so I proceeded to just take everybody's bulk who wanted bulk. I became known as one of the bulk guys. This one of my BlueSky titles. I like to call myself the Lord of Bulk because I just have so freaking much of it. And it's been great. And like, yeah, I've had to start charging a little bit for it, but that's just because like we've had a bunch of local people who have wanted like hundreds of cards, and I want to provide that. But instead of it being like how you're doing, where it's, you get like a pack of like WTR commons or whatever, they're instead like they're quite literally giving me an order, and I have to pick in my stuff to get that order. And so I'm just like, all right, I have been doing it for free. Now with Sage on the rise, though, there is more demand, and because there is more demand, I need to have a reason as to why I'm doing any of that besides just like getting cards into the hands of people. Uh, it's still
Yes.
like significantly cheaper to do those routes, but like it is just one of those things where I had to come to that conclusion and say, hey, it's going to be a
Yes.
little bit for cards,
But
but I'm still
when you're
keeping them in.
handpicking it, you're doing a TCG order at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly. And so I'm just like, hey, I just want, you know, and I felt bad doing it too. I felt awful being like, hey, heads up, all those cards that I'd given people for free, I'm not doing that anymore. Like if you need like 2 cards, whatever, right? I've sure, whatever, I've got you. But if you need like 20 cards because you're trying to build like a whole new deck of a whole new class that you don't have any of the commons or rares for, I'm like, all right, you're gonna have to pay the cost for that, but it's still
Yeah.
not an insane amount, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to still do that. I'm going about organizing all my stuff now in class. I had it all sorted by set.
That's what I'm doing.
I need to sort it by class. I came to that conclusion like I think it was during I was sorting some of my high C's, and I was just like, I I can't have Scar for Scars in here and
Yes.
in Uprising and in WTR,
Yeah.
and me try to figure out how, because I don't keep an inventory. Like I'm not like I don't have like a sheet of how much inventory I have. So I just go, okay, cool. Let me open up this box of WTR. Are there Scar for Scars? No. Let me move 5,000 count boxes to get to the Uprising boxes, and then see if I have Scar for Scars in there. And then it became too much, and I was just like, if they're going to be reprinting stuff, which is fine, I need to have a better system. And so that's just effectively what the plan is. There is that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
So
exactly that. That's what I've been going back and working on, doing it by class, and so that's kind of what prompted it. And then I realized like just how much I have, and I was like, I'm like Brute, for instance. I have like 7 play sets of for Lavaya.
right.
Like I don't need sets for Lavaya. Like
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so this is just more of like a way for me to start getting rid of stuff, as well as try to get it into the players' hands. And then I was like, and then someone had messaged. I was like, oh, there's a US version of you, and I pinged that person
Yeah.
like because they had tagged someone. So I went and viewed the person who tagged it, and then I chatted with them. We DM'd a minute, and then they were like, hey, I have this Google Sheet. Do you want? I was like, absolutely. So
That's
that's what
awesome.
they do. Part of it is I know they do it by packs like that because then it means that exactly what for you, like it means like if for instance in your case it would be like someone being instead of putting an order they'd be like, hey, can I have the WTR brute and Everfest brute and this brute because they're building brute, and you can literally just go and go like boom boom boom, here you go. The other part of it is it allows you to move more bulk because there are definitely stuff like yellows are hard to move,
Yep.
things like that. And I say that to be like, oh well, those, and you might be like, well, those people just throw it out. Probably not, because people like to have play sets of stuff,
Yeah.
and we do see that stuff come back, right? Like yellow brute cards, people hated, and now tough nut players love yellow brute cards.
Yeah. I
Like,
think it's just important too, because like I think it also helps with just not only just like moving that inventory, but it's just like preventative, right? Like a new player probably will look at a yellow card and be like, oh, cool, this pitch is for
yeah,
2, right? But an enfranchised player might be like, oh, yellow copies of the card, I don't need them. But if I have the space, I guess I'll keep them.
yeah,
But yeah, like that's kind of the big thing that I certainly would like to move toward. I thought about being like, after getting them set up by class, I would love to do like a big thing for the commons and rares, just to be like, do
hmm
you want like a playset of all of the commons and rares from Assassin? Here you go. It's
yeah,
like $30 or something. Like you
yeah,
can get everything in there. And so that'll be a nice little way just to like get somebody started, because we do get a lot of new players out here. So if there is a new player and they're like, oh, I just picked up the Gravy Bones Armory deck, I'm just like, cool, okay, here's all the pirate and pirate necromancer
yeah.
stuff. If you want generics, I can get you like a set of like the generic stuff, and then get it all set up from there. But that's it's all about just giving back, right? Because you don't,
Yes,
somebody out there's gonna want it, and if
somebody's
it's,
gonna want it,
you want to make sure that it's better there than in the trash.
and that's the main thing. So like I said, I'll probably charge like maybe a dollar or two more than the shipping, and that's more of like just to cover costs of like packaging and things like that. Because
Yeah.
right, like I have to pay for that. So that's why I said $3 to $5, depending on what you get. If it's a ton, more like 5. If I'm shooting you a whole like USPS box, big box, right? Like that's more like 10.
That's going to cost more. Yeah.
That's gonna cost more. But I'm trying to do it as low as cost as possible, just because at the end of the day, these cars were going to the landfill.
Yep.
And they're not for me. I wouldn't send them to the landfill, but like I can't keep them.
Yeah.
I'm just at a point. So
Yeah, there's not a reason to keep them and then never give them out. Like there's no reason to hoard a bulk. Like it doesn't make any sense for you to have that much. Like you pick out your play sets, keep like 2 CC play sets worth of cards, and then the rest can just be like for other people. And so that's
100%
kind of my concept too, is just like keep the ones that I need so that way I can have play sets if I ever want to play anything in Sage at whatever class, like whatever ends up being something I want to play. And then the rest of it is stuff to give out to locals. I mean, what I used to do, I guess I still do it every now and again. I have some over there, is I actually used to just make starter decks for our local scene. I would just drop off, like, I'd make a deck list online of just commons, really, from a set. So, like, heavy hitters, like if it was Kasai, it was Kasai and just heavy hitters cards. And I'd put them into a list that felt like it was good and at least fairly playable. I put it in a team bag. I'd make like 10 of those decks, and then I would drop off like a smorgasbord of different ones off at an LGS and just be like, here you go. If anybody's ever interested in Flesh and Blood, I don't care if you want to sell these or not. You should, but you can give them to them. They're just like free decks. And it's gotten like 6 or 7 new players into the game, I think, just off that alone. And so if that's any metric, it's pretty good. Metric. So it's not bad. But cool. All right. Well, that is awesome.
A lovely fun tangents.
Yeah.
Can you give me 1 second? I need more coffee.
Go for it. Yeah. Ooh, you brought the whole thing in there. There you go.
Oh yeah. I think there's only a little bit left. That's why I brought it in. All right, there's none left.
No.
There's like a drip.
No.
That's what happens when you share coffee in the morning.
That's it. The rascal's taking everything.
No, my wife.
the other rascal.
She probably put together like a big cup to take to the doctor's office while she's taking the girls.
Yeah.
So I can't be mad.
There you go. At least she's caffeinated.
Okay, so I know. Take it through the day. So we had an event. There was an event in Tokyo, and I know this is what everybody's probably was like waiting for, and instead we love to get sidetracked, but that's okay. So this event, it wasn't streaming anywhere, but people kept posting like the top 8.
Yeah.
I sent those to you.
Yep.
And so the top 8 was, let me look in our conversation to see if I want to make sure I get it. Okay. So first let's go over like the top few decks. So there was, I don't know how many players. There must have been like over 100.
I think there were 243 players at this event.
Wow. So we had number 1, we had 56 IRAs.
Mm-hmm.
And we had on second most played was 25 Bravo Shatter and Flowman. Showman.
It's early.
Shattering Showman. And third we had
Briar
at 24, and then we had Chain at 15, Oldhim at 14.
Yeah, those were the
like
most
9s,
represented.
8s, 7s.
Yeah, small little stuff every now and again. There was
there was almost every hero represented except for, well, okay, there's 56 of them, but the main people that you would think about was present. So we had, I'll just read them off. We had Fi, KO, Azalea, Icelander, Enigma, Vincent, Dory, Dragon Lady. Why am I forgetting her? Dromai. Lexi. This is hard when I don't have the names.
I know, this is a lot. Well,
Riptide, Valda.
There was a lot of people.
There was a lot.
I see
I'm only halfway through the list.
I see there were 3 Olympia. I'm not sure if they were all Decimator, but shout out to you if you were on Decimator Olympia. I'm excited to see if somebody actually did at least fairly okay, top 16 maybe with that one. But it was, there were a lot of players and obviously a lot of IRA into the field. And I think a lot of what people were wondering was, is IRA going to be the best deck in the format?
Yeah.
And of course, we take a look at the top 8, and there's not a single IRA to be found out of the 56 IRA that were in the event. Wait a minute.
I would
That's
not.
crazy.
This top 8 is. I would not expect this. So
Yeah.
top 8 was 5 chains, right? One,
Yep.
2, 3,
There
4,
were
5
there were
chains.
15 chain at the event, and 1/3 of
5
them
of them.
converted into the top 8.
2 Ultims, which if you told me like how many Ultims, I would have guessed 3, to be honest. But 2 Ultims and a Valda.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the top 4 was 3 chains and a Valda.
Yep.
And then the finals was Valda v Chain and Chain.
Chain took it
My
down.
understanding is Chain took it down.
Yep, Chain took it down.
I want that Valda list so bad.
It is well.
You have it.
Lucky for you, I do have the Valda list. I do have it. Let me get this up here. I will send this to you so you can at least look at it. Because
I want to say I'm not. So Chain is a surprise, like overall.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I do want to say that I'm not overly. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the equipment is Civic Peak, which Valda does like Civic Peak.
Yes.
So like, give him a card, cool. I get a
seismic off of it.
I've always built Valda with a Civic Peak.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Guardian, but I love Valda. If that makes sense.
It does. I mean, Valda plays significantly different than most of the other Guardians do. So,
well, I think it's just like she's just such a badass that.
And also, the other thing that's probably the thing that helps her kind of be one of the better Guardians is that 1 point of life. Like, 1 point of extra life makes a huge difference. I know, like, Yoji in Blitz was often a problem because even in Clash, it was like 22 life. Like, what in the world do you do with that? Like,
that's his ability. So he's got 2 extra life.
Yep, his ability is 2 extra life, and that really just like pushes you through a lot of stuff. So
okay, so this list makes sense because you have the list of trying to get the seismics, and then you have 2 10 crushes in your deck, the new ones, the old ones. And if you can get those with dominated, which means that it just costs you a blue, and then it's a 10 dominate. Like their on hit doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's literally half of your opponent's life dominated. Like, kind of really, really powerful. And so that's kind of the concept is you can heave the bindings or the old ones, whatever. Get 2 seismic surge tokens, block with something like a crash and bash to make a seismic surge token, and then now you have 3 seismics, and then you just keep a blue in hand. You boom, bam, send 10, dominate. Your opponent just kind of has to take the damage. And sure, it's not like a ton of disruption, but they are on Red Pummel. Red Pummel is enough disruption to really make the difference. Obviously, Boulder Drop is an insane card in this format, so Boulder Drop also very good. And then you just, like, again, you have all the good things, promising terrain to get you additional seismic surge tokens, tectonic instability to get your opponent's arsenal out of there, and then also your own. You make like 3 seismic surge tokens off of that card alone, which is really good. And it's pretty much just a bunch of these heave cards. You heave cards into your arsenal. They're discounted with the seismic surge tokens. Valda then makes those cards usually have dominate if they have crush, and then you just go ahead and send whatever additional disruption you have at your opponent. So the Valda deck looks really, really good. I'm planning on giving it a shot. I might just run this into my whenever I get down to V's in my A to Z series. I'd like to play this and check this out because it does look like a pretty solid list.
Well, the main thing too that I noticed from here, because I played Valda a lot in Clash. I don't think I played her a lot in the tournament, but like in Clash in general, I play her a lot.
Right.
And one of the main things is I was running all colors of Thunderquake just because you get to make heave 3.
Right.
But the thing is, typically you have to give up your turn. The nice thing about the heave 2 stuff means that you can swing with hammer and heave it if you want to. Well, I guess the heave 3, I was going to say you need 6, but it allows you to just do it a little bit easier if you don't have all pawns in your hand.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and because my Valda lists were always, I'd almost always have too much blue in my deck just because you're trying to heave so much.
Right.
Whereas this allows you to, like, hey, I could swing with hammer and I can heave 2 way easier off of I don't need 2 blues in my hand in order to do that.
Absolutely.
I can
Yeah.
have a blue and a couple reds, and that's okay. But the fact that you're right, I didn't even think about this. The fact that the the old ones allow you to heave 2,
Yep.
and then all you do is you heave 2 off of that, get it in your arsenal, and then you Civic Peak.
Yep. You
Block the
literally just
Civic
block,
Peak.
get that third one. Sure, you give them another card, block it out, keep a blue, then 10 dominate. And it's just like super, super convenient. I mean, it's literally Thunderquake on everything. Like I guess assuming you're always sending some kind of Thunderquake. You have Aftershock, which makes a Seismic Surge token. You've got, I mean, again, like a ton of stuff. You're playing Red Staunch in Arsenal or in the inventory because obviously like Staunch is just such an insane card. Arcane Polarities for the arcane matchups. Crash Down if you're trying to just like insanely power. I mean, dude, your stuff is discounted anyway. Like just pay 3, play the aura, heave a Thunderquake blue, and then it's just like, okay, cool. If I get to keep a blue in hand, your next turn is Thunderquake for 14. Like that's pretty good, even if it's not dominated. Like that's still 14 damage you are sending at your opponent. So it is there's possibility for it to just be like really, really overpowering. And obviously it made it to the finals of the Tokyo event. So there's a lot to be said here. And of course, like sending, it's kind of it's the same thing that makes Azalea really good in the format, right? Is being able to send really large amounts of damage and have disruptive on hits, or just be able to make it hard for your opponent to block it. You can only take so many of those. You can only like as an aggro hero, you can only take like one of those old ones attacks.
Yes.
That's it. Like that is it. You take one of those and you're like, okay, I now have to kill you. And especially when it comes to Chain has to have at least like 2 to 3 Soul Shackles to really like get a lot of their stuff. And so if turn 1 is literally just like send 10, your opponent goes, okay, cool. Like, all right, I did a setup turn. My opponent's now coming in for 10, and I have to go, do I just take 10 and then try to like kill them? It can happen, but I do think that it is it's not certainly not as easy to do. But yeah. So that's the Valda list. But I did send you the chain list as well. I don't know if this is the chain list, but this is effectively a concept of what the chain list, one of the chain lists is. This is just such an interesting build. Just looking at it overall. The funny thing about
build I've been seeing people run though.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as they sent this, I looked at this and was like, "Yep, this is exactly the builds I've been seeing."
And it is in general, crazy. So I had not even thought about this, and I ran into a deck like this in Talishar, and I didn't really think anything of it. I think I ended up beating the deck, but I was like, okay, cool, interesting. Spellblade Assault. That's kind of a fun thing, right? Costs 2, comes in for 4 at red, 3 at blue, 2 at blue, 3 at yellow. And you create 2 rune chant tokens. So the concept of this is where initially you had Deadwood Dirge to make you those rune chants. Now instead what is happening is you're utilizing the chain ability. You're playing a Spellblade Assault, which costs 2, to then give you 2 rune chants, to then be able to either make a 3rd rune chant with Runehold release, or whether it be off of like a Runeblood incantation or a Malefic incantation. You then get to, well, I guess it'd be more so off the Malefics than it would be off the Runebloods, but you then get to send 4 with Go Again into 6 or 7 with Go Again. And the important part about everything in this deck, even though it's only in the sideboard, everything in the deck is a pummel target. All of them. So your Deathly Wails, your Deathly Delights, your Spellblade Assaults, and even the Soul Reaping, which is kind of the big thing, they are all pummel targets. So you're playing...
They're not actually running pummel in the main deck, though, which is surprising. It's a sideboard piece.
Exactly, right. And I was also interested in like why Time Snap Potion was a big thing and like all this other stuff. It was very, very interesting. But overall, the concept of, okay, cool, we don't have rune chant generation because Deadwood Dirge is gone. How do we make consistent rune chant generation? And after now seeing the Spellblade Assault, I'm just like, go figure, right? That just makes sense. Like, that is exactly what you want. You want to be able to play, get your Malefic incantations out early, play Spellblade Assault with Go Again. You make a rune chant, probably two off of, if you have two Malefic incantations, and then you also get the two from Spellblade Assault. Now you have 4 chants, so whatever the heck is in your banish zone is good to go. You're just able to send that thing out, and it is. I do think that the deck, obviously, Chain can brick. It is susceptible to having that happen, because if the top of your deck is, several non-attack actions and not your rune gate cards, it's going to feel a little bad. But to see that this is kind of what was being pushed through, I am really, really curious to test it out and see, because apparently this is like oppressive. Like, it's a really, really oppressive list. And I'm like, yeah, I think you could probably beat it if you're really doing like block slop in the correct way. But
no, that's why. Continue.
I mean, that's effectively it. I was just like, it makes sense as to why it's as disruptive as it is. But it is like it's go tall chain, but you're able to kind of do 2 go tall attacks. It's like if you gave Guardian Go Again, which is pretty interesting. Do I think anything from this is going to get hit? No. I think that this is honestly fine, and I'm going to be honest. It's more than likely beatable. My whole thing is that I think not to like skip, but like, I think there's just a lot of discourse when people saw 5 chain in the top 8. And a lot of people initially were like, oh, this is the next format that everybody wants. Like, this is just LL, but 20 life. And you have 5 chain in there. And it's just, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be nothing but awful things and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, this has been one event. And it's one event. And also, like, if you really think that chain is going to be like the only thing that gets played, you're out of your mind. Because you literally could just play like, I don't know. Again, you could play a deck that blocks really well. Oldhim still does very well into the deck. Valda obviously does very well into the deck. Like, there are options for you to play. You could also just be faster than them. You could play Dash and like completely blow them out of the water, because you're able to do like 20 plus damage in a turn just off of your first couple of turns. So if you just never let off the gas and they block, and they don't block because they want to keep everything in their hand because they have to, you just kind of kill them. So I don't know. I think I've had enough testing to get a pretty good understanding. Do I think it's invincible? No. But I think it is a very good deck, and congrats to the winner of that event for bringing it to the finals of a 243 person event for Sage. For Sage. I mean, like, never.
Everyone's excited about Sage.
It's great. I mean, I know that from what I recall hearing, the scene over in Japan really does like young hero format.
Yeah, fast, quick.
And so I could see why Tokyo had as much love and want for this. I'm sure the prizings were great too, but like, it's just really cool to see that was the case. And yeah.
So my take on this is, as soon as I saw that, I'm not surprised. So here's kind of from my experience, and I think you probably had similar experiences. I love Briar. I've been meaning Briar. I played so much Briar getting ready for the DM Armada event, just to like understand my deck. You've seen my deck. We never did get to do an Olympia.
I know.
Briar game, because we never saw each other again.
That was it. That was the last night.
But that's what I said. I said to my wife, I was like, I only did about half of what I wanted to do, and she was like, next time you just gotta schedule it out. And I was like, you're right. I'll just be like, Alex, we're playing at this time tomorrow. I don't know.
I'd go. I'm very keen to a schedule. I love that shit.
But one of the things that I've experienced, at least with these aggro decks like Briar and just these 0 for 4 decks essentially is that block slop just destroys them.
Yep.
Like I have done some testing into Oldhim. Like I've specifically done testing into Oldhim. Just found like random people on Talishar and stuff. And was like, hey, can you run Oldhim? Like things like that. Or like now Talishar has it where you can ask for to go against a specific hero. So I have done lots of testing into it, and I've done like I have sideboard slots. So I've done like sideboard slots specific to go against it, and the conclusion I've come to is essentially you have to try to pitch stack your burn up shock into your lightning press.
Yeah.
You have to pitch stack those in order to have a chance. Otherwise, you're just dead.
Yeah.
And you got to hope that you can live long enough in order to get that set up. But even that, you're just not assured to because they have so many reacts and stuff in there. So, chain, on the other hand, can be oppressive from out of the gate. Typically not, but there are some hands that I've seen chain come in where they're coming in for heavy damage. So they do like a setup into something insane where they don't. So if you notice in this list, they're running the Ebb and Fold, and Ebb and Fold allows you to get your your Rune Gate card into there, so that you could do your Spellblade Assault into like a Deathly Whale or something like that. So you even just set up like that's just a lot of damage from the get go that you could do turn one if you have it, and they are going to have to block. They're going to have to block both physical and rune chants in there. So like you don't have enough cards to block all of that is what I'm getting at. If you're setting it up correctly, like you're gonna rip their hand, probably still getting a few points of damage, and then you get to keep going. What I've seen is basically after 2 or 3 turns, like you just have to. If you don't win within 3 turns as a Briar player, I'm probably dead because they will do a 7 into a 7, and that's not including the rune chance that they're building along the way. Like that's just going to happen, and so. What I see is hey, Oldhim and all these block slop heroes crumple to that long term. Oldhim is a slow deck. Chain can build up. He's going to be able to pitch stack to make sure he gets what he wants to get. If you're that good of a player to pitch stack, which at a 243 event you probably are, where you're pitch stacking, and not just pitch stacking, you're pitch stacking to banish cards. Like you're pitch stacking so you know your hand plus your banish. There are players that know that, and they are insane. I am not one of those players, but there are players that can track that, where they're tracking what they're banishing versus that, and they're actually able to pitch stack what they're banishing versus what's coming into their hand. If you're able to do that, you're probably going to win because he goes so tall and can go so wide. The only thing that I immediately notice is he's running Sutcliffe Suede Heights, which means that he can go 3 wide if he sets it up, which no block slop is going to be able to stop 3 wide.
Yeah, and it's not only like 3 wide. I mean, 3 wide is usually not terrible if you have the right answers to it, right? I mean, I the only thing I could assume is like if you are sitting on 2 Steelblade Shunt Reds and you have already pitched a blue to prevent like a rune chant, and your opponent then sends 4, you block 4 with like a On the Horizon or a whatever block card, and then it's literally just okay, cool, Deathly Whale for 6 and 2 chance, or 6 and 3 chance. You take 3 chance, block 6. And then they send, or they suck cliffs into a Soul Reaping or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then I think Soul Reaping is like such an insane card, and for it to be that is one of the better rare specializations in the game is Soul Reaping, because it's literally free. You just say, hey, this route, and like you get resources off of it too. So like you literally just need to go, okay, cool, send this. I have the rune chance. Send 6 and 3 from my Banish Zone with Go Again. You now are sending 9 damage at your opponent. You then go ahead and play Soul Reaping, banishing another, 2 cost or another Blood Debt card or whatever, right? You get 1 resource and you get to play that for free. You get to play Soul Reaping for free. You then play you pop that resource to play the Suckcliffe Suede Hide to give it go again, and then do the other thing, right? Like you have to play a non-attack action in order for you to play Suede Hides, but that is able to happen, right? That is a very easy thing for that to do, especially if it's like you don't even need to use chain ability, right? You can Mauve Skies into Deathly Whale for that. If it hits, you get Rune Chance, and then you get to Soul Reaping, and then you can even just Reaping Blade, or you can send something else from your hand, maybe another Phantom Wraith or something of the sort, something that costs 2. Like, there are very large, you could probably send like 25 points of damage in a turn.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
If you're turn 3 and 4, that's probably what you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gave the example of like a turn 1 in there, and so like, and I did notice one of the things that stuck out to me is I feel like the specific deck list is running a little more Blood Debt than I've seen people run, which is great, because I always feel like what happens with people is they build their deck and it functions decently with Blood Debt, but you don't have enough of it, and you're really only going to get, like, let's be real, you're getting 3 to 5 turns.
Yeah.
Out of a Sage.
Yeah.
Sage game.
Yep.
And so you're looking at basically 5 turns. If you're going against Oldhim, you're looking at seeing your whole deck, but typically you're not going to see your whole deck, so you do need to kind of keep that up higher a little bit. But yeah, like this deck, I'm definitely gonna play it. Putrid Stirrings feels correct in this too. Like, I have tried to run Putrid Stirrings in Vincent. I think it's a trap just because you have to get rid of a card every turn. But if it's just going to be banished off of the top, you have a couple of blue cards in your hand, great, because that Putrid Stirrings is a +5 to your next Rune Gate. So I'll turn your basic Rune Gates into 12 plus. So I say it to be like this deck this particular one that you sent me, very well built, very well thought out. The only thing I'm like kind of sketchy on is I get the time snap. I kind of get the time snap what's going on there. I would look at, personally for me, and I would have to test this out first, is I would probably drop maybe like the yellow Spellblade Assault to get in the pummels.
Right.
But that's just more of like a personal.
Right. It's a flavor thing, right? It's a
flavor thing.
It's what you want to do, and I think that's, again, bringing it back to like why Sage is so fun is like, sure, there's like still nothing is solved. You see 5 chain in the top of a format, and it does not mean that chain is now the best deck in the format. It's everything everybody's going to have to beat. Sure. Do we live in a world where people net deck all the time? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you're going to run into this deck for sure. Like, come Valencia or Seattle or Hong Kong, you're probably going to see this deck again. But if you have prepared for this deck along with the other decks in the top 5 represented heroes, right? Because that's the thing, is that none of the Iras made it to the top tables because chain can present so much more damage, and Ira is on like 2 blocks. Ira doesn't get like flick flack or anything like that. Like, you don't have that same concept, so you have to also try and be the aggressor. While Ira is significantly more mid-range in a lot of her play style right now, because she does kind of focus a lot on those like Kadachi style plays. I mean, if you send 8 and your opponent sends 25, you can't keep up with that. Like, you cannot keep up with it. So it is gonna hurt you, especially if you can't block well enough. So
I do think we are going to see an influx of this deck go up. It'll probably next event, especially like the next main fab event. I think we'll probably see this be the most represented deck. I would be surprised if we didn't.
Well, funny enough,
it has
there is so this weekend is Valencia.
Oh, is it this weekend? You're right.
This weekend is Valencia. So we are going to learn
more.
That.
I just didn't connect the fact that Stage was happening.
Yep, and if it's streamed, awesome. I'd love to know. I'd love for them to stream the Battle Hardened, because I think it would be super good. But that is because it is a calling, so I'm sure the calling's probably going to have. I don't even know if anybody's going to stream anything, because I'm sure it's not. I'm sure they're not flying Mansant over there. So.
No, it's hit the official. Yesterday I had it notify me it is going to hit the official channel.
It is, okay. So so that would be cool to see the Silver Age Battle Hardened, see what happens there.
I could see them doing it where they don't necessarily do it as the main thing, but kind of like maybe they'll do it where they record like the top 8 like they've done previously.
Yeah,
they've done that a couple times previously where they've recorded top 8, and that like that would be a perfect one to record the top 8.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
to give us just that, and they don't even need to have the commentators on there. They just can give us the games like they did with. There was like 20 or 30 games they gave us from Worlds that they
Yeah.
didn't use.
Yep.
So I do think this is going to be the top deck. I do think Ira's going to go down. I do think that this will probably be one of the first heroes banned. If the players don't ban it, I think LSS will ban it.
For sure.
For the second season, because I think first season everything's open.
Yeah.
And for the pen season, everything's open, and then the next season after that, that's when we do the voting. So I could see this getting hit just because it does stop a lot, but at the same time, I feel like the block slop needed to go down.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this will bring that down a little bit, which means if block slop does go down, that actually makes Briar and Ira and those heroes better. Because, for instance, like as a Briar main, like I cannot compete against an Oldhim. A Terra, actually, I can compete against a Terra.
Yeah.
I can't compete against an Oldhim just because he does have that prevent 2 ability,
Yeah.
whereas a Terra has to do a little bit more than that. And I say that because, for instance, my Briar list actually has more arcane damage in it than most Briars do.
Right.
So most of the time I can get over the top of people, but because Oldhim is like, I'm always going to prevent 2, I can't. It's hard to beat it even if they don't bring in any AB. I actually usually win against. I've seen lots of Guardians come in on me and not do AB because like I'll just block it and just take a handful of AB, whereas I honestly I do have about the amount of, I think I have like close to 20 points of AB in my, or arcane damage in my deck. But it's like, if you don't block it, I will just arcane you down.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
good.
not normal for players.
It's good to have. I mean, there's always that switchboard plan, and like I do know that Briar can at least compete with kind of getting yourself up there and pushing a lot more damage. You might even be able to out damage Chain if they don't see their good cards early enough. Like you could push that damage through.
Yeah, I can out damage Chain, but I have to have a good 3. I have to have a good 3 turns.
Exactly, right. And that's, I mean, that's really,
and if I don't beat him within 3 turns, I'm dead.
Exactly, that's just it, right? And so, and I mean, even with like Oldhim, I mean, Oldhim being able to do even Ice React, right? Ice React being able to be, okay, cool, I get to do this, I get to send this damage, and it's like, okay, Oldhim React, put that last card in your back in the top of your deck. It's like, okay, now my chains don't go as long. You end up running into issues where like it's probably more like you're going to run into Runeblade hands with things like that happening, and so you're not able to convert as much. But I do think that there are plenty of options to play at this thing.
And this Valda deck showed us that his chance. Like I would love to see the final because she went through a lot. I'm sure she went through a ton of chains to get. Obviously, she went through 2 different chains to get to the final, if I remember correctly, right?
I think she played into
She played a chain in top 8 and in top 4, and then lost in the final to a chain.
Yeah.
And it could be just like that chain in the final just had the nuts. Because if you have a good couple turn, like the deck you sent me is set up to have a good couple turns at the beginning, and it looks like it's fairly consistent. So if you can have a couple of decent turns at the beginning to put pressure on them, and then once you're turn 3, 4, like you are online at that point. So you just own the game. But I go back and forth because I'm kind of sad to see like Chain just kind of be it all because it's Chain and we've seen him dominate so much. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not surprised just because of exactly what I just said. Like he can finish. He does have Runeblade style play. He can have Runeblade style play. He can finish those longer games. He will get over the block slop, and if he has a couple of good turns, like nobody can stop him, and he can have like this ebb and fold makes it where he can have a good turn 1.
Yeah, you can absolutely convert those early hands to make it work for you, and so that's kind of the best part. I mean, there's, again, we're going to see what happens at Valencia, but I do think that a lot of what is going to happen at Valencia, Hong Kong, and Seattle is going to show us what regionally is popular, and also show us what other decks have the capability of beating things like Chain, right? And when it comes to like those bans, right, the hero bans, I had to talk with this yesterday because it was just like, okay, well, obviously, Chain's probably catching a ban immediately for the season because why wouldn't he, right? And I'm just like, well, hopefully hopefully the community will ban heroes because of their hero power and not because of their card pool, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, right? Like we see Chain and we know why Chain is powerful, right? If Chain could not give go again to any of his actions, he would not be as good. He'd be playing a lot more of those like Rune Rager Swarm small
Yep.
attacks to go kind of wider and then kill your opponent. You'd be back on like the Boomer Chain-esque thing with like Stroll of Skull form
Absolutely.
and stuff. But you're not doing that, and like it is easy to manipulate the go again keyword. And so, with that being the case, obviously, Chain catching a ban makes sense. Bravo Flattering Showman also could catch a ban strictly because of his hero power. Oldhim could catch a ban because of his hero power. Like, I'm hoping that if there are bans that happen, right? Well, there will be, but when bans happen, that people look at the hero power of the hero and go, okay, they get to abuse this hero power in several different ways that is oppressive towards the format. Get them out of here, right? It's not so much that it's like, oh, it's block slop the deck, we need to get rid of it, because that deck can be played in multiple other heroes.
Right. Yes. You can go
So yeah,
terrible. You can go
exactly. You can just play a different deck that has the same cards, right? So it is very interesting. I'm curious to see what happens from that. But even with Chain being at the top of the meta currently, right? Again, it's a lot of people who didn't see any of the games, right? Could have been very close games to everything, right? I mean, it could have been 1-1 for several things, and Chain just got over a little bit more, right? That is, I don't believe many of these games were blowouts, and so that's kind of where unfortunately, the internet speculation of Chain is the best thing ever. Why play anything else? Like one of our locals is planning on going to Seattle, and he's like dooming because he's like, why the hell? I don't want to have to play Sage. Like it's literally just the everything that we hated about that people hated about LL, but in a 20 health format. And I'm just like, just play Dash. Like you're gonna be fine. Like it's okay.
The argument I always play against that is always just like, yes, but it's done in 10 minutes, not
Yeah.
an hour.
Like, are you kidding me? It's gonna be the fastest battle harden you've ever been a part of. Like, it's so good. And like it's fast. You have a general concept of game plan. Like your cards still have power in them, even though they're just rares and commons. Like, the reason Guardian is so good in the format is because their rares and commons are really good. The reason Mechanologist is really good in the format is because cards in that pool are really good. Whereas you look like Assassin, most of the cards for Assassin that are really good are Majestic.
Terrible.
So we don't have
commons and rares. I hope that Pen, and I think that's their purpose, right? Of Pen is to fix that right there, because the Assassins. I mean, you and I have both tried to do Assassins in budget formats.
Yeah.
In general, and it's just terrible. Like you have to do the only decent ones are the mark builds, so you can make them discard cards and things like that. But even that, like your weapon doesn't always mark. Like the weapon that you have access to in Sage is not great.
Yeah.
All that, anyways. But that would be the purpose of Pen, is to give the classes that have terrible commons and rares.
Yeah.
And a lot of them they have terrible commons and rares, just because if you look at like who has the good stuff, it's been the heroes that have been around the longest, right? They've gotten more sets, they've gotten more stuff in there, they've been around the longest. Even like if you look at Illusionist, right? Dromai right now is the best one, so her card pool is very much like that set only. But if you look at the other Illusionists, like, and that's probably the problem though, is a lot of Illusionists don't share a card pool. And that's kind of the same thing with Assassins. They don't share a card pool.
Right.
They do, but they don't.
Yeah, there is a base Illusionist class cards, but like, let's be honest, it's just passing Mirage in most of these decks. Like the rest of it is going to be a core thing based on the talent and the Illusionist. And that's what Illusionists have been for a while. But
exactly. And it's kind of the same with Assassin too. Like, oh, this Assassin wants to mark. This Assassin wants stealth to go wide. This Assassin wants contract. This Assassin wants to banish stuff like off the top. They're like, it's kind of the same idea in there. That just it's not great. So, but needless to say, like that's obviously the purpose of Penn is to kind of bring those up, I would assume,
Yeah.
and make it a little bit more even. I do think with Penn, I did hear somebody I watched Pitt Against this past week
Hmm.
on Thursday. I just happened to catch like probably like 20 minutes at the beginning, and they brought a caller on that was like, "Hey, I don't want to hear anything about Sage and the meta until Penn comes out." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean it's pretty much true.
Yeah.
It's an absolute blast, but like Penn is built to bring power into the classes that need power. So the reality of it is I go like, yes, he Chain is gonna get a ban in the second season. We don't know what Penn brings. He could
Exactly.
fall to the wayside and
Icelander could
just
go from here to here, and everybody go, well, Icelander's got to go now. That's insane. Like, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
there's so many things that Penn is going to change about the format.
absolutely.
It is going to be a different format by the time that Penn comes out, and that is also everybody is dooming about wanting to about having to play this at the Pro Tour in Yokohama, but like
I think
Penn
it's
is
great.
going to be live. Like Penn is going to be out. So what we know now about the format is not going to be the same when Penn comes out. So it is just important to keep that in mind, is that, you know, we can't doom over one result. We need to get multiple results. Data driven analytics is very important. And that's what we need whenever we're taking a look at a format that is brand new to the game, is we need to assess it at that level of taking the information in, seeing who wins formats. Is it because they're a good player, or is it because they're on a busted hero, right? Like those are
Yeah,
two different things. You
and
could
it could
take
be
a,
both,
it
but
could be, and it could be both, right? But like, that's the thing, is that if you're a good player on a busted hero, then if they bring the hero down a little bit, right, then you're at least in a good spot where it's like, okay, good player, just kind of really good hero, right? But
yeah,
as opposed to being like, this is the nuttiest thing I've ever seen. So
yeah,
yeah.
I do think. And kind of last comment is I do think that the other thing is this kind of came out of like people didn't have Chain on their radar.
Mm-hmm.
They do
Yeah.
now. He's got a you know target on his back
Yep.
essentially. And so I don't know how exactly counter it. Maybe you just have more humbles in there and things like that. Like things to basically force them to block to get them in there. There is a little bit less of a sideboard of to counter
Mm-hmm.
stuff in Sage just because a lot of that stuff lives in the majestic space.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised for us to get more of those generic countering things in Penn. Like I
Sure.
think we'll probably see a little bit more of that. I think we'll see more of that in the future, so that there is like a generic kind of okay, he's playing auras. You know, whatever that card is that just like destroys auras.
Yeah.
That's a majestic that we saw over the weekend. I forget who that was. I think it's like destroyed all of Chain's soul shackles, like just like that because it's an Earth card. Um, but anyways, so I think we'll see that. But now people are aware of it. People are going to prep for it. People are going to try to play against it because the other piece of it is if you think about it, like especially in Japan, like in Japan, yes, some of those players have been playing a long time, but it is a newer game for the Japanese
Mm-hmm.
market in general,
Yeah.
and that's a hero that probably most in the Japanese market haven't played against.
Yep.
So they're just not used to it. There's so many more heroes in here that people are just not used to playing against to figure out how to play it.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is I would love to see the games because the reality of it is Chain can just literally deck himself. So if
Yep.
you play it right, you literally can just deck them out. And so I'd love to see that game against Valda. Like, did she go too aggressive? Should she have switched to more of a blocking plan? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's that going on where you're kind of like, did they just have the nuts and they just exploded her because they had a fantastic turn, or was it
Exactly.
like they didn't switch the player, and the player I'm sure is amazing because they got to the final,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe they recognized it too late of when to switch or things like that.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're not used to playing as many chains. Maybe
Right.
that was the first weekend they played against chain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of factors, and without seeing those games, like we don't really know exactly like how close they were, right? But I think luckily with Valencia coming up, I would hope that we are going to get some more coverage on that,
So
and hopefully we'll continue to see more results come from Silver Age again. You know, as we mentioned, Penn is going to make this a completely different format, but for right now, it's a pretty Wild West thing. Powerful stuff's going to do powerful stuff, and so if you know that that's happening locally, there are certainly ways to counter it. You just have to do testing, right? It's a new format. Like give it some time. It'll be a good time. But yeah. So that's it for me. That's it for Nathan. We're gonna go ahead and end the stream here. We're gonna end the podcast. But thank you all so much for watching today's episode. It's been a blast. I'm very happy to see future Sage things occurring. And of course, I'm going to continue to be doing some Sage stuff on my channel. We'll be doing some A to Z stuff and kind of talking a little bit. I'm planning on doing a video talking about collecting too, even just because Sage allows you to do something like that. But that's a pretty good thing too.
I've been collecting stuff for Clash for years, so like a lot of that translates to Sage. Where it's like I have all these cool cold foils.
Yeah, like the Marvel heroes and stuff, and you're like, ooh, cool, like you're good. So yeah, a lot of fun. But Nathan, anything on your channel for the week, or are you just kind of vibing? I know your family's sick, so you're probably vibing.
Yeah, my family's been sick, so I'm vibing. I'll be working on that the Sage Recycle program. I have a couple more cards that I am starting to cut, and so we'll probably that'll be a couple more weeks. So the one thing about one of my main contents being cutting cards is that they take 2 weeks to a month. So you only see videos every. I do have a backlog of videos that I haven't put on TikTok yet. So my TikTok will be active, but Instagram and YouTube probably will not be as active just because I am still getting some more stuff ready.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then that's it for us. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate. This is Thanksgiving weekend that we're having this out here. So, if you're going to eat a lot of food, just send pictures in the Discord because I would love to see everybody's food.
I will post food pictures just for you.
Hell yeah. All right. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, take care. And I hope you continue to have fun in the flesh and blood. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye.